baseball, and what's his name with the Packers? Rob paid so much money they might not have any money for baseball.
200 million.
Is that all? Wow. Well, it's nothing like finishing on a win, and especially on senior day, and I think that was kind of really important to me, and from a program standpoint and also from an individual standpoint. It was fun to see the guys be able to have some fun. It's no question it's been a different year, and I look back at so many games and kind of say if, but that's what you never want to be able to say. You never want to be able to say, I wish I would have, or I wish we could have. So as I said to you earlier, when you struggle in a couple games, sometimes it's the team you're playing, sometimes it's you. With Sunday's win, it was special for our seniors, and now we get into tournament time and one and done time, and I think we've been pretty well versed on the ups and downs of a season, and now understanding that those same mistakes that are the my bads don't get to be my bads anymore. It'll be great to get back to the Big Ten tournament with fans. It's definitely been one of the better tournaments in the country. I think it's starting to rival the ACC, which had it for 30 years. That's exciting. As far as playing Maryland again, I know it's not fun. It's like pulling teeth when you play the same team over and over and over, and especially back to back. But it is what it is. It's not easy to beat a team 3 times, but both teams certainly know each other pretty well, and we've had fairly big leads in both games, and they found a way to come back. I think that's a great tribute to them. I think it's a tribute to, maybe in all fairness and honesty, the job Danny's done. Not easy to take over a program halfway through, but understand those are good players. Ayala is as good a player he could play for anybody. Vance Russell is, I think, unbelievable. I mean, you watch him in warm-ups, his athletic ability, the way he can shoot it, the way he can handle it. Scott has been a thorn in our side forever. Now with the 2 centers inside, they're definitely more than adequate there. Team Hart, I mean, they all got experience. They've all got a couple, 2 to 3 years of starting. And, I think that covers a lot of people. I think everybody saw how dangerous Ayala can be. I mean, he shot a couple from the logo, and we're going to have to do a little better job on him. But if we could do the same job on Russell, I think that gives us a better chance. We didn't stop him, but kind of contained him a little bit. So as far as we go, AJ has been sick for a week, and I think he's doing better. He said he was doing better last week, and yet today was the first day I saw some lift in him as far as everything goes, and he just seemed to be at a different level today. Had a really good practice yesterday. We gave him a day off, a little film session. Now just trying to monitor, what we got to do to be ready and be physically and mentally ready for the weekend. We're practicing in the morning, we're leaving, and then the fun begins. So, questions? Are you guys, not that I care, but just out of curiosity, are all of you just being safe and secure? Do you have to wear masks?
Oh, that was my idea.
You should have a full length one on, top to bottom.
We were asked to wear one out of courtesy.
Nick told us the other day about that. Just
to be fair, he said around the players, he didn't really care about you.
Yeah, take them off around me, gang. I mean, this is
all I needed to hear.
Yeah. You don't have to. No worries with me. There's a lot of people that hope I get sick, so don't worry about that. But I guess that's nice of Nick. But I mean, since the president opened it up finally after all this time, I think you guys do what you want. Don't want to tell anybody what to do, because that would be a mortal sin. But do what you want, but I'm okay with it. How's that?
Tom, I was going to ask about AJ. If he is able to get back to kind of his normal workload, how would that help you guys? What was that change?
Well, it was just 10 days ago where, he was so good against Purdue, and he was good against Michigan the first time, and he had some big time games. He gives us the ability to guard somebody. He does push the ball. He does distribute the ball. You know, it was hard on him, and he's had some ups and downs too. You know, and if he played like he did in practice today, we're going to be a much better team. How's that? I do think he has the ability to make us a much better team because he can really spray the ball a lot more if he start playing off 2 feet, not make those turnovers that you make you shake your head. And that's what we talked to him about. When he does it the other way, he's very effective, and he can guard anybody, and that makes it real good for us.
Tommy referenced it a little bit there, though, but not having the fans last year, not having the tournament 2 years ago, there's not a lot of tournament experience, I guess you would call it, on this team in terms of how it normally is. Is that a concern at all, or is it almost like these guys are more looking forward to it and it could be a good thing for you guys?
I think it's a concern because I think, you know, you try to talk about one and done time so they know. It's like a lot of these freshmen and sophomores that are now juniors and seniors never really got to experience it. You know, that 1 year when we had it, you know, when you have no fans, you have it's just a different animal, you know. I hope they're excited about it. I think they're excited about it. But I sometimes I see a dazed look in a lot of the team's faces that I've even faced. You know, I think everybody's trying to figure out what is this, you know, what is this new happening? I mean, it pains me to think that our juniors and seniors have gone through this and not gotten a chance to enjoy the good times. But hey, it was the cards they were dealt, and we were all dealt, and there's worse things that have happened than that. And I think they will be excited to play. As far as the knowledge of understanding the pressures of one and done, I think it's a little different.
After watching the film, I'm curious if, you know, Maryland goes 0 for 14 from the field, how much was that defense from you guys or their inability to make shots? And yeah, that's my question. Those you guys would go on, but.
Yeah, you know, if I answered it, you want me to be the positive dog or the negative dog?
Whatever
just
you're
a
feeling
dog.
today.
You know, I think a little bit of both. I do. I think I told you what he said to me at half court right before I went out, and you know, he missed some of those shots. I do think our defense was very good for what we wanted to do, and we thought, looking back at the film, the second half, we left gaps. We did some things that we didn't do as good a job of, and it's part of the issues we've had. You know, can you sustain for 40 minutes? I got an interesting text from a couple of pro coaches that were saying some of the same things, you know, and it's been the battle cry of our meeting yesterday, our practice today. I thought we had a really good practice. I thought the guys were excited to be there and excited for the start of a new season, you know, and so I think it was 50-50. I think they missed some shots, but I think our defense, the first half, was as good defensively we played in a long time. If you talk about, you know, we started using this word back in the middle of January. We really had a connected team, and we made that a big deal to all of you, and you guys made it a big deal to us. And then it seemed like we're a little disconnected, and that's what something we've tried to talk about yesterday and today is we got to reconnect. We got to know that if a guy gets beat here, someone's got to help there. If we're in the post, and we worked on a lot of things in the post since we've done a poor job of that, and that falls on me. And so we're going to do a better job of that kind of defense too. So I'd say a little bit of both.
Chris?
Looking back at last year, different arena, different environment, obviously, but these guys played the same Maryland team or similar Maryland team. How much do you look back at last year and show them what happened there and try and point them to change things?
Yeah, unequivocally zero. You know, I try not to think about last year, and that's not a negative thing. It's just that it was such a different mindset for everybody that I mean, we got 2 shots at them this year. We've got plenty of film. I don't look at anything at last year. I mean, to me, we're a completely different team, and they're a little bit different, but as you say, you know, a lot of similar pieces in some ways. But I won't look at that film one iota. I'll look at 20 of this year's film, probably.
Tom, it's a team you just played and scouted. Does this become one of those weeks like we heard a little bit more in the start of the season where you focus more on Michigan State, getting ready for this stuff?
Yeah, tonight we're going to come back and walk through some of them, and as we do in tournament time, walk through a little bit of Wisconsin and let our players understand, because they haven't been through it, that we do try to prepare for the weekend the best we can. This is an oddity for us. I don't know how many times, tell me, because I know you know, how many times that we played on Thursday.
Handful.
I don't even think a handful, but a few.
Yeah.
And so when you play on Thursday, the one thing you do know is who you're going to play Friday. And, I can look at it, I'm more worried about Thursday's game because I think it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But if you get through there, you're going to play a Wisconsin team that you sort of know, but it sure does help if you refresh your memory, because what happens is once you play that game on Thursday night, Friday comes quick. And so we'll always walk through some of their stuff in a little separate session, have a little separate video, just to have it in their minds. And if some people out there take it that I'm looking ahead, I've done this for after the first Final Four, actually the first Final Four I went to. I've done it every year since, in every tournament I played in. I learned early after going to a Final Four that winning games isn't as important as winning tournaments. And to win a tournament, you have to win the weekend. And so winning one game never did excite me after the Final Four. It excited me before it, but never after it. And so we approach every tournament like that, whether we're down in the Bahamas, whether we're, but it's harder down there because 2 teams play on one night and then 2 teams play the same night and you play the winner. So then you'd have to prepare for 3 teams, which we do in the NCAA tournament. But in this one, we'll look at Wisconsin and we'll spend half hour on them just so they have a feel. Then tomorrow, put that to bed, totally focus on Maryland and on Michigan State. So your question, I beat around the bush. Your question is, we're focusing on us a lot, and that's why we looked at all the things we didn't do well. What did we not do well in the last game? We didn't handle the pickup point. We didn't handle the transition defenses. The pickup point on Ayala is at the logo. We didn't handle the transition defense very well. I thought we were backpedaling, and they got 2 over the tops, and I said that hasn't happened all year long. So we tried to clean up some of those things, ball screen defenses, different things that they run, what we're going to do in the post. That's what today's practice was all about, more about Michigan State than even them. Any team we play, we want to be able to do a better job. And tonight we'll do a little bit on our offense and a little bit on the 2 teams now where we're actually running their stuff.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jack. He'll like yours better than mine.
Tom,
That's true. I was going to say that earlier. That's true.
I was going to ask you what base you're on. With the chance to play 4 games in 4 days, could your depth be as important as it's been at any point this season if you can get a couple of wins?
Yeah, that's the funny part as you look forward and you say, well, how do you win the weekend? Because that's what we should be thinking about here. 1 game at a time. Make sure, don't take that wrong, because I know how it goes, but I do think I've looked at the whole weekend and I said we do have one of those teams that could play 10, 11 guys. We could have Malik do something one night and Max do something the next, and Markey do something the next, so scouting us isn't real easy either for different reasons. But I do think our depth could help us as we go, and as you know, sometimes the hardest game to win is the first game. The second hardest game to win is the second first game. In other words, the second game, so many times we played on Friday, and those teams get their feet wet on Thursday, they get confidence because they won a game, they played on the floor, everybody's feeling good, and then all of a sudden here you come in cold. So those 2 are almost more important than the others, but when you're playing in one and done, you realize every game is just as important, because if you lose, you don't move on.
Captain cynicism here. I know people love conference tournaments, But you ask your team to sell out for 3 months, and now you're asking them to bring energy at the most important time of the year and do it again for 3 or 4 days, when unless you win the thing, what is the big deal about the conference tournament?
I told you the funny story when I was, first year I was here, and Mike, Katie, and Clem weren't really fans of it. And I was asked to vote the right way for it, or told, either way you want to look at it. But I kind of wanted it then because we weren't very good, and I said it's a chance to do so. And then we went a lot of years. We were, like I said, I bet you we went. Matt, how many years were we on Friday? A lot, right?
I think we've only played Thursday 4 times.
4 times, okay. So we had a lot of years when we were playing on Friday, and then all of a sudden it's, the only thing that can happen is bad, you know? It looks like the tournament is 4 things. But then I realized that when you play good in the tournament, only one time that I think we played Sunday, and then we had to play Thursday, and I thought that wore us out a little bit, you know? But for the most part, I've grown to enjoy it because it is competition. It teaches you the one and done aspect of things. Personally, it has nothing to do with my team. I love what happens in football where there's a bowl game 30 days after the announcement and everybody plans their trips. And as I said, the buddies from 20 years ago get together. And what I said the other night at my radio show, you know, the fraternity brothers get together and have a hell of a time. The sorority sisters get together and hope it's in Chicago so they can shop. And it works out either way. You know, it's a good excuse to get to some of those cities and do some things. But there's a togetherness like no other, you know, because people can plan ahead. I think that's been good for our institutions, if you want the truth. But does it wear you down? Maybe, but everybody's got them, so we're all in the same boat. Yeah. So I guess if I had to re-vote now, I'd probably vote for it because I think it benefits the university. I think it benefits the alums. I think it benefits the players to get to play in something like that. I think it's a pain in the butt for the coaches because it's just more reason for whatever.
You had a chance to communicate with Drew Valentine this week?
You know, I called Drew last night. I did not talk to him, but I did send him a little text. I'm proud of him, happy for him. You know, great accomplishment. They struggled a little bit there at one part of the year and reared their ugly heads back and did the job. So since we beat him, I'm double proud, but I'm proud of him because of where he is, who he is, what he's from. Got a great text from his dad after we won. Yeah, I'm really happy for Drew. Really happy.
How crazy the Big Ten back here. How crazy the Big Ten was this year. You guys just expecting or anticipating anything really happening in this tournament?
Boy, I wouldn't want to be a good predictor right now. I feel like I haven't done a good job of that. I've been surprised all year long. You know, I talked to Greg Gard yesterday, and you know, I left. I was up in my office. I left to go downstairs. They were up 10 with 5 minutes left, and you know, it's illegal for Wisconsin to lose a game like that. It's not even un-American. It's flat out illegal. They just don't do that. They've won 14 games in a row at 5 points or less. And he said, you know, just a out-of-body experience, missed layups, key guys, veteran guys missing free throws. I think that's the kind of year it's been everywhere. And so I would be surprised if favorites win it, because it's just been that kind of year. But yet I think there's 2 or 3 teams that, you know, are maybe a notch above the rest right now. In Illinois, Purdue, Wisconsin are very good. But I think it was Mike DeCourcy said it, and that you look at the Thursday games. My God, there's a lot of big games, big matchups on Thursday. So I think it's gonna be a hell of a weekend of basketball, and see who survives.
You see a tournament like this where anybody could win, like, you know, like.
Well, you look at Nebraska.
Games.
Yeah, you look at a Nebraska and you say, you know, can they do that? And then you look at what they did in their last 3 games. I think it was Iowa a bunch of years ago. I think almost came the whole distance. Got beat in the finals, or did they win it?
I don't think, no one's ever done 5, but Iowa did 4.
4.
Yeah.
Illinois came all the way and lost to you.
Yeah,
They were 11.
yeah. That's when we only had 12 teams, though, right?
11.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I can only say that, and I think it'll be competitive. And yet, if it goes like the rest of the season, hang on. I mean, there's been more, I guess, upsets you call them, but hang on.
I'm wondering if your team has evolved over the season, how you've seen the opponents play you in terms of focus of scouting report. It seemed like there was a period where Max Christie was somebody de-emphasized, and how that's changed is a guy like Tyson's had a big day, or as things that Malik's evolved. Like, how different are people playing you, and where are they focusing than maybe they were in December?
I don't very often feel sorry for any of the team. You know, I got enough problems myself, but I do feel sorry for teams. I mean, go ahead, pick. Who would you pick? I mean, it was easy to pick Max early, and I still think Max is going to come out of his little deal, and I think a new season is probably really good for him right now. And but I don't see him playing us much different, you know. We haven't been dominant in one area, you know, the post, the break, the pick and roll. I mean, and you just said it, you know, Tyson, it was Max early. Gabe's had his moments. Marcus has had his moments. I think it's hard to scout us and say, take away him and you'll win the game. Or other teams, take away 1 or 2 players and you got a great chance to win the game. So I don't see it much different.
Wanted to go back to Drew for just a second, because conference tournaments have to benefit a coach like him in his first year there, because of, not only say validation from a validation standpoint, but how would it benefit a young coach like that for him to win the conference tournament?
Well, I agree with you, but look at it the other way. If he was good enough to get in, which they were probably, and he would have lost the conference tournament, is it a 1-bid league? So then he's, you know, I know you're a half glass full and Fred's a half glass empty, or I don't even have a glass anymore, but it does benefit. I mean, I think it was the guy at Illinois a couple of years ago, you know, he had 2 bad average seasons, won both his tournaments, gets there and gets the Illinois job, you know. Sometimes it benefits you in that respect, but I think in Drew's case, I mean, he had a damn good year. I think he should have got in the tournament anyway, but if he would have lost and that ends up a 1-bid league for some reason, then it damages you. So it just depends how you look at it. That's the hardest thing when I look at guys getting jobs, or guys will call me about jobs. The first thing I ask, is it a 1-bid league or is it a 2 or 3? Because if it's a 1-bid league, like the MAC has been, my former assistant Stan Joplin, I mean, he had some great years, won the championship. Guy that's there now, Todd Kowalczyk, has won a lot of games and just gets upset, you know, in the Campy he's gotten there a couple times, but he's had some tremendous teams, and then gets stuck in their conference tournament when they're 1 seeds, maybe should have won, and they don't get to go. That's tough. And so that's one of the negatives I always say on 1-bid leagues. You can look at the other way. You know, if an average team has a couple of good wins and all of a sudden they're in a championship game and they win, you know, he gets the Michigan State job and they boot me. So those are the things that happen, and that's why I don't know if it's a clear-cut message or anything.
Anything else?
My players must have worn you guys out, huh? Well, I'll finish by saying that, you know, I do think it's the things we learned this year could benefit us in this, and yet we got to play better than we played. We have not consistently played to the level I think we can play. And if we do, I think we have a chance to do some damage in this tournament, and that's kind of what we're going to bank on and enjoy the trip. See you guys.
Appreciate it.
Fred, if you don't get back with us, I will send it. Thank you. Two big teams on the other side.
Right, but you think about them banning the shift?
Huh?
You think about them banning?